welcome back to Indigo Smokes, Tarot and Astrology, Indigo Mystic. I get the two mixed up. I forget that I renamed it. But welcome back. I am doing an astrology interpretation video for Venus and Scorpio. So if you have your natal Venus in Scorpio, or if you are Scorpio dominant, you could definitely resonate with a lot of what I say here. I'm going to briefly go over what Venus is, what it represents, what it means for you, obviously, and then I will get into the specifics of Venus in Scorpio. Okay, so if you see me looking down my notes, because I will ramble, I do that a lot and I can easily lose my train of thought. So if you see me looking down, that is what I'm looking at. I have like 3 notebooks here, but yeah. So Venus is your love nature, your love language, your aesthetic, your vibe. It's like if you had a personal culture that was you, Venus would describe that. Your artistic talents, inclinations, your natural gifts that you have, your values, your self-worth, what you are attracted to in others, how you attract others, what you use about yourself to attract others, or what others are naturally attracted to about you. Your Venus sign, Venus can talk about like your ideal type of person, especially if you are a man or you identify as masculine, as a masculine energy predominantly. Venus would describe the woman that your ideal type, your ideal woman, or your ideal feminine. Okay, so however that works. So typically in times before the more politically correct times that we're in now, for women, the Mars and Jupiter would describe their husband or their partner, and for men, the Moon and Venus would describe the women that they like. So apply that accordingly to whatever you identify as. If you identify as feminine, this could definitely heavily describe you. But I find that Venus placements still describe the men in some way, shape, or form. Anyways, so Venus also rules pleasures, leisure, how you like to spend your leisure time, what entertains you, what seduces you, what charms you, and also how you charm, seduce, entertain others. It's your style, it's your taste, it's your creative expression, it's your aesthetic, it's your vibe. I also describe your Venus placement as like the vibe and the energy surrounding dating and flirting, kind of before you get into the serious relationship, but it can play out, of course, in the relationship too. But I feel like it heavily colors the dating process, the talking process, the butterflies, that initial honeymoon phase. It definitely describes that and what pulls you into that. But it can also just, describe your sexual preferences, your erotic life as well. I think I already said it's your love language, it's your relationship with money, your relationship with others, how you spend money, how you save money, if you save money, how you like to spend your time, your love nature, what you want in love, your finances, what you own, your appearance, your appearance, your appearance, what you value in yourself and others, the type of art, music, entertainment that you like, what is needed in love and relationships for you, your approach to love and connections. Let me see. Money, material goods. It kind of describes it. Art, alliances, values, self-worth. Yeah. How you earn. Like once you're how you can earn money or attract blessings to you. Because Venus is an attractive and a magnetic energy, and Venus is also how you turn on your charm, how you would go about charming someone or seducing someone. What else? The gifts we give and also like to receive. The shadow side of Venus can be vanity, laziness, superficiality, hedonism, lack of taste, lack of direct expression, insecurities. So, yes. Is there anything else? Love affairs, self-expression, your power of attraction, how to attract abundance and receive, how to magnetize your blessings, your business, your money to you, people and partners. Your pleasure principle, music, art, luxury, your love style. It governs women. It can also, once again, refer to sex, receptivity. And I think that's about it. So, move this over here. I don't need this anymore. That's an old notebook, and I was just too lazy to write down, a fresh piece of paper and describing what Venus is. So, on to Venus in Scorpio. This is an intense placement. God. So, Venus in Scorpio is a very intuitive placement. It's very, Venus and Scorpio people can be very private. They can be very secretive, very intense, strong-minded, strong-willed. They value strength, loyalty. Venus and Scorpio, they feel their emotions intensely. They typically want or attract deep, intense, enmeshed, entangled relationships. They don't like anything that is shallow or superficial. They want a real connection. Scorpio is about merging, so for example, I just did Venus in Libra a couple of hours ago, and if Libra rules the 7th house and Venus and contracts and the surface level, or what is on paper to describe a relationship, if it's just the meeting up of one-on-one and signing a piece of paper, then Scorpio is that energy that talks about all of the complicated dark stuff, the demons, so to speak, that come out once you're actually in the midst of the deep shit that happens in relationships. It's Pluto, 8th house, Scorpio energy. It refers to fears and anxieties and sexuality and taboo. It's your darker side. No, not even your darker side, even though it can be. It's the deeper aspect to you, the deeper inner workings of what happens in relationships and what makes a relationship work. That is Scorpio, merging together of money, bodies, soul, spirits, deep shit like that can be very, very complicated, or very, very passionate and transformative. It can have a variety of different expressions. But if Venus in Libra in 7th house rules contracts and the social appearance and the legal benefits or social benefits of a relationship, the couple goals part, then the 8th house would be the complicated shit that comes up. So anyways, Venus and Scorpio, they typically, any Scorpio placement is going to feel their emotions very, very intensely, very deeply. They will most likely like to keep that private to themselves. They don't want to appear vulnerable or weak. They're attracted to strength. They pride themselves on their strength and their ability to be together. Venus and Scorpio people can attract Scorpionic people. They can attract intense, dark, deep, mysterious people, emotional people, possibly. Scorpio also rules criminals and manipulators. So with this placement, people who have Venus and Scorpio can attract, people who are more so into their shadow side. Venus and Scorpio can be very possessive and territorial and obsessive. At its worst, it can be very like stalkerish and controlling and manipulative. But Venus and Scorpio can be typically, or often often confident. Even if they aren't, they can put on the appearance of being that way. Venus and Scorpio, they may have a lot of secrets. Anyone with a lot of Scorpio in their chart, they can be, just automatically more private, more secretive, and it can be like pulling teeth to get anything real out of them, unless they really trust you and they really know you. These people, Venus and Scorpio dominant people, can remain guarded for years. These are typically very layered, complex people and personalities, and relationships bring more of that complexity out of them. Scorpio energy, Venus and Scorpio, it can be very complicated. It can like things that are complicated, whether consciously or subconsciously. It's very easy for people with this placement with a lot of Scorpio energy to end up in entanglements and enmeshments and just complicated, messy relationships that bring out the ugly in you, or the anxiety in you, the fear in you, and somehow it has a deep effect, or it's very transformative. You attract relationships like that. Venus and Scorpio can be very passionate, very direct, straightforward, not really about bullshit. Not about games unless they're the ones playing them, because Venus and Scorpio dominant energy will test you to see what makes you tick and if they can trust you. So they can, play their own little games, but they will blow a gasket if you play games with them. So it is definitely not a two-way street with that. These people can be very, very mysterious. They can be very reserved, or at the very least, they can seem that way to others. Typically, Venus and Scorpio people, they have a certain aura about them, that just pulls people to them. It's magnetic, it's intense, it's passionate, it's brooding, This placement, it could be inclined to have like a small inner circle. Once again, Scorpio, if there was a model to go with Scorpio, it would be trust no one. Yeah, so that would definitely make sense if someone with this placement had like a small inner circle, because this placement is prone to trust issues. That's just what it is. Scorpio energy can be very paranoid, sometimes rightfully so, sometimes it's overkill. Likely Scorpio energy is about wounds, it's about trauma, it's about changing through pain, dealing with deeper rooted issues, so bringing things to the surface. So likely someone with Venus and Scorpio, they likely have some sort of trauma or some kind of wound or fear that can make them very guarded or very obsessive or very paranoid, and sometimes like maybe insecure or manipulative or controlling. There's likely some sort of trauma or wound that can cause them to fall into their shadow side if they're not careful. And at some point in their life, they probably will fall into their shadow side, because Scorpio energy, 8th house, Pluto energy, it rules the dark side. It wants you to explore it so that you can grow, to go beyond the surface of, Libra energy into the depths. So, likely Venus and Scorpio dominant people, at some point, they are going to be the darker expression of Scorpio, because that is a part of their maturation process. Yeah, likely has some sort of trauma that either made them better or worse. I should have just said that. They can be a lot to handle for more easygoing, lighthearted, carefree types, such as Libra, who most likely will not want to like deal with the deeper inner workings of things, unless there's of course other things in their chart to make that. Venus and Scorpio can be very, once again, brooding, can be very introspective. They can be very ambitious, very driven. That obsession about them, like, this placement is naturally obsessive. They just have to find a healthy outlet for that obsession. But obsession is prone to Scorpio energy. It's you're not going to not be obsessive. You just have to channel it in a healthy way. So these people can be very ambitious, very driven, very focused, and that they can be so much so that they can be, power hungry or controlling or manipulative. Once again, most of the time these people have a very sexual vibe, or there's just like a certain thing about them that's very sexually appealing that pulls people in, or they're drawn to people like that. Sometimes it can work both ways, of course. Let me see. Oh, once they let you in, once you pass their test, once they're comfortable with you and they trust you, they can be very loyal, devoted, passionate, loving, highly sexual, committed people. They don't want lighthearted love. They want to be completely merged, like all levels, no secrets. They can keep secrets if they want, but they want that Bonnie and Clyde type of love, that Queen and Slim type of love, that, ride or die, like I would kill for you. A prime example of this is the Netflix show You. Good God, like, just, that is such a Scorpionic show. It's like not even funny. And I think the guy that plays, I watched the show and I'm forgetting his name. Is it Joe? Yeah, I think it's Joe. Anyways, the main character who plays on You, he in real life he has Moon and Scorpio, and he plays the part to a fucking T, and I'm so sure that Scorpio energy helps a lot. So that's a very Venus and Scorpio like show, very much so to a T. Although it's more darker expression, that obsession, that passion, that drive in regards to a loved one or a relationship, and the lengths that they'll go to get their loved one and protect their loved one can be extreme at its worst, but very sweet and protective at its best. Yeah, so got that. I already said obsessive. Values, depth, intensity, privacy, passion, power, strength, exclusivity, realness, authenticity, deep connections, soulmate connections, loyalty. Cannot emphasize that enough. Scorpio wants loyalty. Authenticity. Scorpio rules the genitalia and sexuality and sexual expression. So of course, Venus and Scorpio, they value sex or sexuality in some way, shape, or form. Sex and sexuality plays a big role in their life or in their development, for better or for worse. Venus and Scorpio could also be inclined to, like, spirituality, occult interest in regards to like their hobbies, their interests. Definitely could be into, psychology, psychology, detective work, behind the scenes work, anything spiritual, anything occult based, anything hidden or taboo. They can definitely be interested in that. They can be interested in sexual taboos as well, like BDSM, even though I don't think that's even a taboo anymore. Venus and Scorpio will likely value mystery, something that keeps them on their toes, something that they can figure out and dissect. And intimacy. They value intimacy, union, merging. Okay. So if Venus and Libra, and this is an oversimplification, but it's just to give an understanding for, for example, if someone is watching an astrology video for the first time. So for example, if Venus and Libra is the couple goals, the curated image that is on Instagram and YouTube, then Venus and Scorpio would be one, the show that is You on Netflix, or Venus and Scorpio would be that craving, that yearning to be one with somebody, to have an unbreakable connection with someone, wanting to experience the depths of that passion and that pain and embracing it, so it's like those two signs, they both want partnership, but they're kind of driven by totally different things in a way. What was I about to say? So Scorpio can, they can give great advice. Once again, like I said, they can be interested in psychology and understanding how the mind works. They can be very good bullshit detectors. They can read people very well because they're very perceptive, observant, intuitive. In a lot of cases, they can be borderline psychic. They can see and pay attention to things that maybe others would overlook. So that means they can give great advice, be great friends, be great protectors, and be great at any job that requires them to get down to the nitty gritty, get down to the truth. They can have a very penetrating focus, a very penetrating gaze. Like literally, their eyes can be very intense. They can be very telepathically inclined. They can like really see through people, or Let me see what else. You can be very calculated, very strategic. Mind you, Scorpio is a fixed sign. So once it finds something, regardless of what aspect of life it's in, once this sign finds something that grabs its interest, it's laser focused. These people can be very cautious, especially with their privacy, especially with their heart, their emotions, their love, their trust. Very cautious. Patient, calculated, strategic. They could work as an occultist, a detective, a therapist, a criminal. Their aura, I think I already said this, is typically magnetic in some way, shape, or form. And excuse me, my handwriting is like really bad. Yeah, they don't normally value light and casual unless it's their idea and it's on their terms. They're typically not gonna go for that. Of course, that's not everybody. It really just depends on the maturity level and preference of people with this placement. But a lot of the time, people with Venus and Scorpio, they don't want anything light unless they're maybe the type to avoid commitment and have commitment issues. Then maybe. Also, another example of Venus and Scorpio energy, and I hate the movie, but Christian Grey, that's the perfect example. He wanted complete ownership and he was into BDSM, so that's a very cliche, stereotypical expression of, Venus and Scorpio. Let me see. Yeah, I think I already said they're ride or die. They are all or nothing, and that's with everything. They either like you or they don't. They either like this or they don't. Like, there's typically no gray area. There's typically no in between with the Scorpio. They're either full blown with it or they are completely not. And whichever stance they choose, you can't change their mind. Only they can, 9 times out of 10. these people may experience a lot of transformations in their looks. You know, Venus and Scorpio, I think Scorpio rules surgery. If not Scorpio, it's either Pluto or Mars or Scorpio that can rule surgery. So Venus and Scorpio people, in regards to their aesthetic, you know, can go under the knife, you know, and get work done. So these people may, you know, transform their bodies in that way. They can be really dedicated to like maybe a workout routine, and that's how they change up their look. Or it can just be purely an aesthetic thing with their hair, with their clothes. They can totally transform and look totally different if they want to, and they'll probably go through a lot of changes aesthetically throughout their life. Yeah, on a typical scale, it would just be with, you know, their looks and how they dress, their hair, and all of that. At the extreme, it probably could go into like, you know, getting surgery or something like that. Surgery is a very intense thing, you know. So yeah. They can also experience a lot of transformation with their ideals via their friends, their relationships, their connections. They could like and or have a sexy or darker, sleek aesthetic to them. They could like black, darker colors, deep reds, purples, blacks, grays. Kind of a bit of like a goth aesthetic, for the lack of a better way to put it. But it won't, in a lot of cases, it won't look contrived. It won't look forced. So, and if their look isn't like dark or sexy, somehow their look is just bold. You know, there's something about them that just grabs you. They can be very compulsive about things, especially about their relationships, their goals. Once again, that ambition, that fixed nature of zoning in with laser focus on what you want and obsessing over it until you get it, or until you figure it out, is very prominent here. What else? They would most likely, in a partner, appreciate someone who is mature, sophisticated, confident, strong, sexual, sexy, mysterious in their own right, strong-willed, kind of stubborn, intelligent partner with a bit of mystery or depth to them. They may like, once again, complicated types. They could like the bad boy or bad girl types, the femme fatales, the, you know, all of that. They could like people in positions of power. They could be very attracted to people in positions of power, people with a lot of money. Like I said, they may be drawn to complicated, complex personalities, you know, people with maybe mental disorders, or, no offense, but people with a lot of childhood trauma, a lot of wounds, like a lot of trust issues, maybe, you know, people who are battling with addiction, like just attracting people in situations that are very, very complicated and intense, you know. They like the stronger, deeper, darker aspects of life, and sometimes people too. So yes, I think this is because, one, they want to be kept on their toes. They want something to figure out. They like the challenge. They like the adrenaline that they get. They need to know they're alive. They need to feel alive. They need to feel something intense, you know, so they can self-sabotage and seek out destruction, you know, or yeah, they can seek out things that are destructive to them, you know, especially if, you know, they're falling into their shadow side, whether that's being drawn to people who are not good for them, whether that's being drawn to activities and outlets that are not good for them, you know, being attracted to the darker side of life and how they make money, you know, any of those things, just because they like the rush that they get. They like the strategy to it, the challenge to it, the passion that it gets. Like, they like how it makes them feel. So yeah, typically people who want like be a little bit of a challenge or a mystery to keep them engaged, they can't be bored with their partner. They can't have a simpleton as a partner either. They don't like that. They can't have anyone shallow or superficial as a partner. Like, it's just not gonna work. They dislike weakness in themselves and in others. It's a respect thing. Once again, they're attracted to power. So they're definitely not about putting their weaknesses out there to be exploited, and they don't like it when, you know, other people do that too. So they dislike weakness in themselves and in others. They do not want to be pitied. Most likely, they probably dislike victim types or weak-minded people, unless for some reason, you know, they want to save someone. But yeah, they typically only love who and what they can respect. If they lose respect for you, the love might go too. And even if the love doesn't go, they'll probably keep you at a distance if you lose their respect or their trust. So yeah, they can be very no nonsense. Once again, bullshit detectors. They can ice you out. Mind you, I always describe Scorpio energy as like it's fixed water. So I see it as like a frozen lake, or the deepest and darkest parts of the ocean that are very still, and you know, you can't really tell that life exists. That is Scorpio energy. It's, yeah, there's no sun there. It's darkness. It's scary. You don't know what the fuck is down there. That is fixed water. That is Scorpio. I always think of Scorpio as like a frozen body of water, and there could be like molten lava in the middle, you know. So that's, to me, that's a very vivid analogy for, you know, they're deep and they're hot on the inside, but on the outside, like, you would not be able to tell if they don't want you to know. So they're very good at keeping a lid on things in a lot of cases, you know, unless they're severely out of balance and they just act on impulse. Yeah, they're good at keeping a lid on their depth, their emotions, their demons, even if they're battling with it internally. You typically won't know until they tell you or show you. And yeah, so they do not forget, can definitely hold a grudge, very grudge prone. You know, these people do not get over painful experiences or painful relationships easily. You know, it typically takes them a while. Mind you, they're fixed. They do not like change. You know, their feelings linger longer, you know. So I would also say for them, intimacy and sex is a need. It's a need for this placement. Typically passionate, frequent, intense sex. They may like very strong eye contact, like, once again, merging. When you know, they say in marriage vows, to become one, that's some Scorpio shit. Yes, to become one. So what else? Oh, also, sex is likely a form of therapy for them, or it can be. So even if they are engaging in sex in a self-destructive way, it's either a form of avoidance for them, a form of control for them, or it does something for them, or they feel that it does something for them on a therapeutic level. But Scorpio energy and Venus and Scorpio energy, they can absolutely tap into their sexuality, or using sex or their sexuality as a form of therapy, and also as a form of self-care. But yeah, it can get out of hand. It has to be moderated, of course, because this is sex is serious. But so they could definitely be into like tantra, or, you know, sexual experimentation, or, you know, spiritual sexual practices. Let me see. Like, for example, some people like BDSM because that's a form of therapy. They get to release, they get to either be in control, and, you know, have a position of power in their private life that they can't have in public. And sometimes it's vice versa. It, you know, it can be therapeutic for them in the sense of, you know, they're tired of being in control and they want to give away their power and they want to be submissive. So that's how, you know, sex can be used as therapy with this energy, or how it can show itself. What else? They can engage in sex compulsively in some cases, especially if they're like running away from themselves, running away from their problems, or if they're trying to like fill a void, you know, typically before they awaken and transform. But a mature and evolved Venus and Scorpio is not going to want to engage in sex or partnership with just any old body. It would prefer to be alone than to be with someone that's not what they need. So jealousy, possessiveness, territorialness is a very strong energy with this. 9 times out of 10, this person has jealousy issues, or they bring out the jealousy and the dark side in other people, especially in their one-on-one partnerships. And, you know, for women with this placement, you could very easily attract jealousy and hate from other women as well. Strong possessive streak. Yeah, forgiveness is normally forgiveness and trust are major things for Venus and Scorpio people to tackle. Like, those are big themes in their life. And as is, you know, expressing their sexuality in a healthy way. So those are things that they have to learn and tackle, or those could be major themes or lessons for them in this lifetime. Okay, I think I already said they hate superficiality. And I already said they don't like gains unless it's them doing it, and they can do it, but you cannot. Because they're doing it to test you. If they feel like you're doing it, they feel like you're being dishonest. Ironic, right? They may want to know, or may even easily find out the secrets of others. People could confide in them because they just get that vibe that the Venus and Scorpio person will understand them or won't tell their secrets. A darker expression of Venus and Scorpio, they could either naturally attract those things, naturally attract secrets and people confiding in them, and they could use it against them in a manipulative way, in a power play sort of way. And then on the flip side, people can easily confide in them and tell them their secrets, and they can give really good advice, and they could be like a vault. So, once again, it just depends on the evolution and maturity level of the person with this placement. But yeah, they can easily find out the secrets of other people. Sometimes people just tell them everything without effort on their part, and it's just like, yo, why are you telling me this? Like, Venus and Scorpio can, like, there can be an issue with boundaries. It could be them having issues with boundaries, or them attracting people who have issues with boundaries, and another example of that could be strangers, complete strangers, confiding in them. It's like, wait a minute, why are you telling me your whole life story? I don't know you, so boundaries can be an issue with them as well. People could cling to them, they could cling to people. So yeah, that can definitely be a theme that they experience in some way, shape, or form. They can come off very intimidating to other people, or very intense, also very magnetic. They can have very vindictive tendencies. Like I said, they can hold a grudge. They can be very calculating and strategic, and they can plot and plan and be like, I'm gonna get your ass back. They can do that. So I wouldn't personally want to experience someone with strong Scorpio energy or Venus and Scorpio energy. I personally wouldn't want to experience them being resentful or scorned towards me, just because, people are crazy. A term that I put with Scorpio energy or Venus and Scorpio is still waters run deep. There's so much more beneath the surface with this energy than, some people realize, or some people even get to experience. You can know someone with a lot of Scorpio energy or Venus and Scorpio energy for a long time and still not fully know them. They're very layered, very complex in a lot of cases. This placement, typically, like I said, that merging, they want to immerse themselves in their partner, every detail. They want to know everything about you. Whether or not they tell you everything about them, they want to know everything about you. They can be the type of person to even love their partner's flaws and could feel like it adds to their beauty, appreciating the imperfections in others and liking it. So this placement can definitely be inclined to loving you because of who you are, not in spite of it. Like, loving you even more because you're not perfect, because they see your wounds and they see you in your totality, and they still love you, and also they kind of want and fear someone seeing them in their totality and loving them, but they can be kind of insecure or too distrusting or paranoid to actually let that happen. But ideally, Venus and Scorpio, they want you to see them and love them in spite of their flaws or because of their flaws. And they also want that in other people. Now, whether or not they are comfortable or able to express that or get that is a completely different story, but that's typically what someone with this energy would want, or along those lines. Because they see beauty in realness. They see beauty in the raw and the ugly. So, yeah. Issues with letting go, fixed. Unless they want to end it, no. So issues with letting go, for sure. Issues with forgiving, letting go, trusting, opening up. Like I said, outlets, BDSM, power plays, whether that is a healthy expression or otherwise. They likely have a very scorpionic appearance, or scorpionic eyes, or just a scorpionic aura. This placement is inclined to know how to seduce people with their energy, with their eyes, with their with their vibe, unless there's other things in their chart that like suppress this or counteract this. They most likely have a certain aura to them that has a very strong effect on people. This Venus is technically in detriment in Scorpio, because once again, Venus rules Libra and Taurus, they like to be comfortable, they like to indulge, they like to keep things light and fun, and they don't want to deal with anything too challenging, too much conflict. They don't want to deal with that. It's peaceful. It's peace. It's live and let live. It's let's eat some good food, smoke some good weed. Let's just do some good fucking. Let's just do everything together. But all that complicated shit, I'm not really trying to do that. But Scorpio is the exact opposite. It loves that. It lives for the complicated shit. So yeah, technically Venus is not comfortable here in Scorpio because Scorpio takes her to the depths that she would rather not pay attention to. I find Venus and Scorpio, they can be very charismatic, very resilient, very sensual. I already said strongly sexual. They can be very emotionally intelligent when they are in their higher vibration. Magnetic energy just on 1,000. They could attract, once again, Scorpio types for better or for worse. And on the good side, you know, they can attract very loyal, devoted, intuitive, deep people, or they could desire that in their partner, or they can attract wounded, manipulative, possessive, controlling, and or criminal people. It really just depends. I find that if Venus and Scorpio people don't own, or Scorpio dominant people, if they don't own their energy, they'll attract the darkness in other people to make them force their own. So yeah, no matter which way you cut it, Scorpio energy is gonna make you feel that shit. Leisure, things they could like do in their leisure time. People at this place, they could love horror movies. They could love those horror documentaries where, like Snapped, where people just fucking go crazy and kill their spouse. They could like shows like that. Drama, thriller, mystery, horror, action movies. Once again, occult study, anything violent, anything gory, mysteries of life, taboos. They can like sexually or emotionally provocative music. Anything that's taboo, anything that's sexual expression, therapy, self-therapy, taboo interests or activities, right up their alley. Trap music. I associate Venus and Scorpio with trap music because it's about the darker sides of life. It's death, it's drugs. So I definitely, you know, can see people with Venus and Scorpio liking trap music or rap music or music that is talking about the darker elements of life and emotions. Darker art too, like gothic art, time period art, that kind of thing. What else? I think they can also be good surgeons, if I didn't mention that for their job. Slow to open up, hard to fool, hard to read, hard to figure out these people. Once again, they may test people to see if they're worthy, to see if they are, you know, reliable. They could also do this without realizing it, you know, especially if it's a trauma response. So they can put people through the ringer subconsciously, not even realizing that they're testing them, you know. But a lot of times they do realize they're testing people. So there's a strong fear of betrayal, loss, rejection, abandonment. This is why they like to be in control. They feel like if they're in control, none of those things are going to happen. These people can heavily, mind you, Scorpio rules other people's assets and money. So these people could have a knack for money. These people could be good with money. These people could be good at getting other people's money. These people could just naturally, you know, get an inheritance or come across a wealthy partner, you know. Money can, you know, kind of flock to them in that way. Or they can, you know, get access to opportunities that, you know, somehow, some way they're getting other people's money, basically. Where they're doing that in a healthy way, where they're doing that in a more shadow way. These people are typically very unapologetic about who they are and how they operate. Like, yeah. These people can be the epitome of unbothered, I don't give a fuck, and I will kill you with my eyes. So yeah. Even if it's just a facade, they know how to put that facade on in a lot of cases. Wow, we're already at 40 minutes. Damn near. Okay. I think I already said they can be insecure, as they have typically experienced a lot of tumultuous experiences in their relationships, in their lives, very extreme, like ups and downs. This placement could, in regards to experiencing ups and downs, like they could experience ups and downs with their money, extreme ups and downs with their relationship, extreme ups and downs with their self-worth, you know, different things like that. It rules extremes. Pluto and Scorpio, 8th house energy. They can self-sabotage due to their insecurity caused by past hurts. Scorpio equals trauma. Venus equals self-worth and relationships. So Yeah, most likely Venus and Scorpio, they could have got sexual attention very early. They could have experienced sex very early. In some cases, just depends. But yeah, people with displacement or people with heavy Scorpio energy, that can be true for them. They are exposed to sex or sexuality in some way, shape, or form early on, or they are very sexual and aware of themselves in that way very early on. Ride or die types, they will fight and kill for who they love typically, and they want someone who will do that for them too. Yeah, could have had very intense or traumatizing sex relationships. They want to belong and feel safe and secure, but they can also fear it and push it away due to their intense, drastic nature. And sometimes they can consciously or subconsciously self-sabotage just because they need something intense to happen. Like, it's like if things are too peaceful, they gotta shake shit up. Which is why Taurus and Libra types, maybe a few earth sign types, wouldn't like it. It's like, yo, I want some stability. Stop. These people normally have a deep craving and yearning for their values or the things that they value, such as sex, intimacy, passion, devotion. Everything they feel it deeply. Everything they want it deeply. This is a fixed and obsessive nature. So, yeah. And this is a water sign, so a lot of this can happen subconsciously. These people can they can play devil's advocate. Mind you, they like taboos. They're interested in taboos. So maybe not necessarily in the way that an Aquarius would do it. They have no problem being taboo. They have no problem shaking the boat. They have no problem making people uncomfortable, whether that's with their words, their actions, how they present themselves, their art. If they're artists, they make people uncomfortable, and they don't have a problem with that in a lot of cases. Yeah. Let me see. Yeah, they can play devil's advocate or somehow bring out the shadow or insecurities in other people, attracting hate, jealousy, people who want to like overpower them, enemies, just by existing. You know, people with a lot of Scorpio energy, they don't have to try to attract that kind of hate or attention. It just happens. And sometimes, you know, people can project their own darkness onto people with this energy. So be careful of that. In some cases, in the more extreme cases, people with Venus and Scorpio, even if they move on, they could have issues with you moving on. I do feel like this is more of the lower vibrational types, but yeah, it could lurk somewhere within the Scorpio energy. Sometimes they can prefer solitude over meaningless connections. They don't, once again, nothing. Tips for this placement, I think this may be similar to my moon in Scorpio, but tips for this placement, because this is about, you know, also how you treat yourself, your relationship with yourself. Journaling, meditation, sex therapy, sex practices, tantra, esoteric studies, astrology, self-reflection, violent video games. All of these things could help them to grow and evolve, or just be a stress reliever. You know, I say violent movies, violent video games, because it can help them, more so violent video games, it can help them channel some of those strong emotions. Like, yeah. So they're often aware of the power and the effect that they have on others, typically. It's usually hard not to realize it. Yeah, their aesthetic could be femme fatale, bad boy type of shit. They may receive unwanted attention due to their aura, due to their looks, due to their sexuality, and people just, you know, feeling their natural intensity. They can attract stalkers, invasive people who may not respect boundaries. I think I said that earlier. Typically, people with Venus and Scorpio, they may have like a dry, sarcastic, or even like a dark sense of humor. Scorpios make me laugh, to be honest. They can be a bit morbid, but I still find it funny. This could also be a type that they love a certain aesthetic, like they love tattoos, piercings, body art, darker clothing, bold clothing, overtly sexual clothing, that kind of thing. Yeah, attracts extremes in situations, people, life. They attract it. They attract it naturally. They're attracted to it. They can more easily handle ups and downs than the average person because they most likely, that's just a part of their life experience, and they get used to it. They can analyze the fuck out of people. They can see through people. They can be very accurate with their character judgment of people. Hence why they can be good consultants, therapists, counselors, so on and so forth. They can teach others how to deal with trauma very well. They could, at some point in their lives, chase adrenaline, be, risk takers or risk chasers. Try not to like mince my words here. Just on a compulsive level, just to feel alive. Or to force change or disruption on themselves because they need something to tackle or something to figure out. I think I already said that. Oh, another movie example of Venus and Scorpio energy is Superhero Ex-Girlfriend. Haven't seen it in years, but it just came to me while I was like writing these notes the other day, and I was like, that's a good example because she just couldn't let go. These people are typically reliable. Once again, like once you're in their inner circle, they got you 9 times out of 10. Of course, unless there's other things in their chart to counteract it or they're not mature. Treat their partner as an extension of them. Once again, being very possessive. And addicted to their emotions. Their hurts linger, stick with them for a long time. It takes them a while to get over hurts and triggers and heartbreaks and traumas. So they can, I don't even want to say they can forgive. They're not going to forget, and forgiving might take a while, but they're definitely not going to forget. So I think, hopefully I'm reading this right. It says, what the fuck did I write? It says if they're not jealous or territorial, then they're either really evolved and mature. Yeah. So if they're not jealous and territorial, they're either really evolved and mature, or they're just not into you anymore. Once again, all or nothing. They will fight for love. Yes, they will. Could be open to sexual experimentation as they're associated with tattoos, sex, genitalia, pleasure, power. They can use sex as a way to get to know someone. Like someone with this placement, they may feel like they don't really know someone until they have sex with them. That could happen on a conscious level or a subconscious level, but it's like, because sex is a spiritual experience and Scorpio is a water sign and they can be very intuitive and perceptive, there may be certain things that happen during sex and they pick up on certain things and they can just figure you out. It's kind of like as opposed to a therapist asking you a bunch of questions, they have sex with you and then after they have sex with you, they can just automatically diagnose you. That's kind of like Scorpionic. Even though that does not happen, that's the best way to describe how a Scorpio gets to know someone through sex. It's like they pick up on little things and they can just put the puzzle pieces together at their best, at their most evolved. That can be something that this type is capable of. This placement is capable of. So yeah, they know how to use sex as a way to get to know someone, or how to or as a way to manipulate them. These people can be workaholics. Whatever they're doing, they're most likely putting their everything into it, because obsession is a part of their energy. They have to have something to fixate on. Greed can be a very big issue for this too, also because Leo once again rules other people's assets and money. So greed and being overly ambitious, wanting too much power and status could, be a issue for them. For some of them, can be very tempted and pulled in by the dark side or their shadow. They have to be careful because they can get too comfortable in it. They can get too comfortable with it. Like I said earlier, there could always be something about them that you don't know. But God forbid if you do the same thing to them. They could earn money via the stock market. Once again, other people's money, banking, other people's money, psychology, esoteric science, financial advisor, accountant, insurance, PI, detective, police work, medicine, surgery. Those are all different ways that, someone with Venus and Scorpio may be naturally skilled, naturally inclined, ways that they can make money, attract money. They can be masters of stealth and disguise. Once again, they can be strategic, and they value and they know how to be private and incognito, so they can be masters of stealth and disguise in that way. They like controversy, they like taboos, they like mystery, they like psychological depths, make them think, evoke emotion from them. They typically have a lot of hidden emotion, a lot of hidden thoughts. You know, there could be strong themes of sex and death, and anything platonic just seeks them out, or they seek it out. I wrote a little note in regards to them being masters of privacy or disguise. I think I said if stay out of my business was a person. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I want to say no, never mind, that's not true, because Beyonce has Venus in Libra, not Venus in Scorpio. Never mind. Never mind. There's someone I'm thinking about, though, that has Venus in Scorpio that I feel like would be the perfect example for this. I think it's Cardi B. I think Cardi B has Venus in Scorpio, and that explains the type of dudes that she like. It explains her lifestyle. She was a stripper. That's something well, at least at one point it was taboo. Getting other people's money in a very sexual way, very Venus and Scorpio. She's lived a very Venus and Scorpio life. Her relationships are intense. I think she's committed some crimes. You know, she was a part of a gang. I think she still is, you know, so that is very Scorpionic. Yeah, so let me see. I think she is a Venus and Scorpio, but I want to double check, because I looked this up at one point because I just figured I pegged her and Offset. I'm like, that has to be a Scorpionic or a Plutonic relationship, and I think it is. Cardi B. This video is gonna be so long. Cardi B, birth chart. Don't do me like that. Just bring up her chart, please. Yeah, she is. She's a Venus in Scorpio. So, Venus in Scorpio, Pluto in Scorpio. So yeah, she's a perfect example of Venus in Scorpio. She has issues with letting go. She's not letting go of Offset anytime soon. I doubt it. She's a very sexual person. That's also how she makes her money, through her sexuality, through her physique, through being overtly sexual, talking about sex, loving sex, needing that passion in her relationships, or like it can't be too peaceful. She's used to that, you know. So anyways, in regards to their aesthetic, if all black everything was an aesthetic or placement, I would say Venus and Scorpio, along with Venus and Capricorn. But you know, that's neither here nor there. Good people watchers, they can brood a lot. They can have resting bitch face. Yep. I feel like the reason that Cardi B doesn't have resting bitch face is because of all of her Libra energy and just her personality. This placement, they appreciate, seek an unspoken bond where words aren't needed, because it's felt telepathically, spiritually, intuitively. They want that. That's very appealing to them, and kind of all water signs, for real. Water placements, they want to feel that. Ugh, like I don't even have to say how I feel. We just are so in tune with each other that we just know. You can just feel it. So blacks, deep reds, deep dark colors could be their favorite colors, their aesthetics, you know. They may like color contrast, or they may like color contrast in their decor, or like monochromatic. They may like that too. They may like skulls, death motif, military styles, stilettos, tattoos, piercings, chains. They could run away from, consciously or subconsciously, easygoing, drama-free relationships. Like I said, they need shit to be shook up. So shaken up. Wow, I said shooken up. Stop it. It is currently 4:57 in the morning, so excuse me. I already said they like to know what makes people tick. They want to get inside your head. They typically find it easy to get inside people's head, and they will most likely be fascinated with someone whose mind they can't get inside of and figure out. That will probably turn them on. They'll likely figure you out before you figure them out. They They need the security that they have you stuck and invested in them emotionally on all levels. If not, they could feel insecure or lose interest. They want to feel like they completely have every aspect of you. They need to know that you're on their hook, so to speak, or they can't fully let down their guard. Because it's like if they get you stuck on them, addicted to them, then they know you're not going anywhere, then they can open up, that kind of thing. Yeah, they can't fully let their guard down unless they have that. Everything else can technically be faked except for feelings. So they have to be able to understand you intuitively, emotionally. They need to know that the emotions are real. Emotions, them being able to get a strong emotion out of you, being able to figure out, it lets them know that this is real shit, you know. Soul connections, telepathic connections, they could have that, they could like that, they could want that on some level. Body art, they could experiment with intoxicants of some kind in their life. Maybe not necessarily as heavy as, I don't know, Pisces, because Pisces kind of rules narcotics. Either Virgo or Pisces does. Virgo and Pisces, they both rule some kind of like medicines or intoxicants. I think Virgo rules the more politically correct and legal kind, and then Pisces the psychoactive types or illegal. But oh my god, any Scorpio, strong Scorpio placement can sting like no other. They can shut people up really well. They know what to say to make that shit hurt, okay? And this can be stronger in their close relationships. If you trigger them, beware. Love and commitment are typically very serious with this placement unless you got a toxic Scorpio like Future. Good god. Speaking of, is he a Venus in Scorpio? Hold up. No, his Venus is in Libra. Good God, that makes so much sense too. But no, he doesn't have that in Scorpio. Never mind. But they believe in actions over words. They can be very cynical, very skeptical at times, especially in the beginning. So it can take them a while to warm up. They typically, a lot of Venus and Scorpio people, they can lead with skepticism, cynicism, sarcasm, aloofness, indifference. It takes a minute, once again, to that ice thing, it takes a minute for them to thaw out. Yeah, another saying for this would be looking at everyone else's hand while they hold their own to themselves, essentially. High standards, they could have hella skeletons, like I said, secrets. They could be lone wolves. They can be antisocial in some regards. They're typically very honest, very blunt, straightforward how they communicate. They're more sensitive than they appear, and people either love or hate them. So they have all or nothing. They bring out the all or nothing in other people. Other people either really, really love them or really, really hate them. But there's typically no indifference. Yeah, people typically don't feel indifferent about Venus and Scorpio. They evoke strong reactions. They want their partner's soul, mind, body, heart, and spirit. Money too. They can be vulgar, obscure, overtly sexual just for shock value. Do that. God damn, how many notes? How many notes? They could be in love with danger, in love with risk. They could attract or be attracted to entanglements, enmeshments, tumultuous connections, power play, roles, up and downs. They could have some form of PTSD in their lifetime, especially in regards to relationships or, dealing with themselves. They can definitely use or weaponize their sex appeal for money, gain, advantage, etc. They change people. People with strong Scorpio energy, they change people for better or for worse, whether they try to or not. Venus can just exist, and if you are in a dynamic with them, in a close dynamic with them, they can just change your life. Dealing with a Scorpio can change the person that is with them completely to where they're no longer the same person after being with Scorpio. So they can definitely transform other people through their connections with them. Or vice versa, they could attract people who, change them for better or for worse. And it can flow both ways if you want to be real about it. Can love money, power. They typically know how to make shit happen. Mind you, they're ambitious, they're determined, they have like fixated, obsessive, compulsive, laser focus. So yeah, it's possible that Venus and Scorpio is never satisfied. Love and money issues could be more complex for them. So these people could also engage in sex work, or they could be in relationships like sugar baby, sugar daddy, where it's transactional, where there's a significant difference in status between the two partners. They could be into fetishes. They could, deal with situations where they have to choose between love and money. For example, strippers, they kind of have to choose between love and money, because most of the time strippers can't find men who are okay with their lifestyle long term. So, essentially it's like, okay, which one do you want? Because you can't get both. So sometimes they do have to choose between the two. Love sex being used as a strategy, or as an asset, or as leverage, or as a power play. Money use also can be used as a strategy, as an asset. In the example of like having a sugar daddy, his money is leverage for him to get a young attractive woman that he may or may not have been able to get otherwise. So these types can choose money over love, or they could just be put in situations where they have to choose between the two because for some reason they can't get both at the same time. Let me see. And sometimes Venus and Scorpio will accept that, just depending on how cynical they are, how wounded they are. They'll just be like, whatever, I don't need love, just give me money. Some of them can be that way. I already said in love with danger and risk, possibly shaped by aggressive, violent, or otherwise intense scenarios in their lives, and their personal values could stem from their trauma, of course. They may instinctively feel unsafe in the world or in certain areas of their life, which is why their guard is always up, always ready for an attack, always ready to just fight. That's Mars energy, that's Pluto energy. They likely dislike being told what to do and prefer to be the boss, likely. They can be fierce protectors of who and what is theirs. Yeah, I think I already said if they feel as though they're in control, then if they want to be in control because they feel as though if they are, then nothing will go wrong. Hence, where control tactics, mind games, being the boss, manipulation can come in to run the show, and their method to keep things going the way that they feel it should go. And that's typically a self-protection mechanism. If it's not a self-protection defense mechanism stemming from wounds, it can definitely be a power issue, trust issue. So, yeah, they can also use their beauty and assets to get love to it, or they can attract those who do this. Also movies that would kind of refer to Venus and Scorpio energy: Beauty and the Beast, Pretty Woman, Titanic, Bonnie and Clyde, Fatal Attraction, Wuthering Heights, Romeo and Juliet, Queen and Slim, Malcolm and Marie. That fucking argument, good God, like, yes, them arguing like that in Malcolm and Marie is very Venus and Scorpio, because it's difficult, it's complicated, it's the ugly shit, it's the shit behind the couple goals, Baby Boy, that is a Venus and Scorpio movie as far as I'm concerned. It's just it's toxic, it's entangled, it's just like, why? There's a movie called Invisible Man 2020, that's very Venus and Scorpio in its darker expression, the control, the manipulation, the power play. Also Queen of the South, that's a good show, a good representation of Venus and Scorpio. The seedy life, money, getting other people's money, living in constant danger, loving that shit for the thrill of it, even though you could die at an accelerated, you could expedite your death if you continue in that lifestyle. That's very much a Venus and Scorpio show. There's another movie called The Perfect Guy, that's a good example of Venus and Scorpio. John Wick, that's a good Venus and Scorpio series. Okay, it's good. If not Venus and Scorpio, it's something Scorpio, but for the sake of what I wrote down, actually no, I would say John Wick is a Venus and Scorpio movie, because he goes through that, because one, they kill his dog and he lost his wife, okay, and he's trying to stay loyal to his commitment to his wife and saying that he would leave it all behind. So to me, that's very much Venus and Scorpio, like, yeah. And he's also technically a criminal, again, Venus, Scorpio. Players Club is a good Venus and Scorpio movie. That is a movie about strippers, if you do not know. 50 Shades of Grey and Vampire Diaries, that was a Venus and Scorpio show as well. So hopefully those examples you know, can give you vivid ideas of how this energy can play out in a variety of different ways. This type could be attracted to forbidden fruit, forbidden love. Once again, taboo vibes here. They either have a dark, mysterious, secretive nature. They're attracted to people and things that exhibit that energy. They can be extremist. They typically will not volunteer info about themselves, and they may even evade certain questions, keeping in control of the conversation or situation. Once again, they can interrogate you, they can analyze you, but they will keep you at a distance so that you can't do that to them. In a lot of cases, they like to keep people guessing. They can play hard to get. They're attracted to challenge, power, confidence, intensity, wealth, status. Powerful people, intense people. They like to stay slightly out of reach. Another self-defense mechanism. At some point, they're going to pry into others or partners. So these are the type to do social media stalking, research, sneak peeks at the cell phone. They could definitely do that. These people can also still be very imaginative, very adventurous, and this can come out in, you know, their sex life as well. They can be attracted to jobs and positions of power, leadership positions. They can be powerful in the business world as well, depending on, you know, other aspects in their chart, of course. They're likely to be interested in long-term financial investments, you know, financial generational wealth, financial literacy, and or self-investment. So adding value to, you know, like themselves. They could also be attracted to politics, leadership roles. It could be an interest of theirs. They typically have their own philosophy and code that they live by, and they, once again, it's a fixed sign, so they stick firmly to it. And they most likely love drama, thrill, fights, and relationships, or they attract that in their relationship, personal love life. Okay, so I feel like this was just so long-winded. This is easily the longest video, and I didn't even have to stop it a few times like I had to do Venus and Libra. So hopefully I didn't miss anything. If I did, please let me know. I hope that this resonated. I know this is a long ass video, so I really hope that if you watched to this point that you enjoyed it and that I wasn't too redundant. I appreciate any feedback. Please give this video a thumbs up, like, share, subscribe if you like it. Any feedback is appreciated, and I will see you next time in my next video. Mwah.